All right, welcome to this week's BLT on Rye, with your hosts,
Or as you could call it, BLM on Rye. I thought of that.
Oh, that's a good one, Benny. That's smart, because this week we all picked works created by black artists.
I'm going to explain to the listeners at home that we had a take before this one that got messed up, and Luke called it BLM, and that's why I'm laughing.
Yes, it was me, originally, who did that bit.
And I didn't understand it.
It was a mess. It was all a mess. We're a mess.
I also butchered it and made everyone introduce themselves, and Benny introduced himself as I'm black, because he was B. And I didn't want to force that joke again, but I want to let people know that it happened.
That we attempted, and then, by the grace of God, my laptop died, and we could have been saved from it, but instead we're letting you know, because this show is about transparency. Well, translucency.
And honesty. Truth.
And being nice. I can't just steal Hollywood Handbook bits, I'm sorry.
Is that a thing they do? They're about being nice?
Yeah, yes. I stole 2 in a row there, and I was like, I can't keep doing this.
As long as you acknowledge it. If you don't...
Then it's just an homage.
Yeah, it's just a quote.
My phone is buzzing, and it is lost in the pile of art supplies that I am currently surrounded by.
Let's talk about that, Tori. You said you have 2 pencil cases. That's not true.
You very sadly said, I only have 2 pencil cases.
And that's also not true. What's in those cases, Tori?
One of them has my watercolor markers, and the other one has my Sharpies.
So it sounds like you have a Sharpie and a marker case.
Well, they are just pouches.
So it sounds like you have
a Sharpie
pouches.
and a watercolor pouches.
Okay, I could go to the store and buy something labeled pencil case.
I could go to the store.
No, you can't. Quarantine. Stay home.
That's true.
They cannot tell me what I have to put in it. I could buy a pencil case and I could put water in it. It doesn't make it a water case, it's still a pencil case. I'm just using it for something else.
Yes.
Water, the pencil's natural enemy.
Yeah, but also, if someone came over to my house and was like, ooh, what's this? And I said, oh, that's my pencil case. And they opened it and it was full of water, they'd look at me like I'm a crazy person. They'd be like, why didn't you call it your pouch of water?
I don't know if that sounds any better. I don't know why I give that example.
But I think they'd look at you less crazy if they opened it up and there were markers. I don't think that the look would be... They wouldn't be as confused.
Why is your pencil case sloshing and dripping? Because the zipper's not that good, that's why. Oh. Fun stuff. So, what did we all pick for our things?
I picked the movie Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee.
I picked the album Exmilitary by Death Grips.
I picked Lizzo.
You know that you picked a Lizzo album,
Yeah,
right?
you didn't just pick Lizzo in general.
Well, I would pick her.
Which, I want to throw this out there. Whenever we were texting each other our picks, Tori said Lizzo. Lizzo's my pick. And I was like, well, just Lizzo in general or an album in particular? And Benny, what did you say?
I said, I assume because I love you.
And I said, Benny, that I love you too, but that's no reason to assume anything. Because, my God, I'm just so funny. I can't stand it. And I had to let everyone know. What's up? What's up?
I said, neither can I. Can't stand you either. No, the album is Cause I Love You.
Yeah. Alright, so, we were deciding who was going to go first before we lost the thing, and I believe it was me. And I was just telling you guys that Death Grips is an experimental hip-hop group. And they're formed in, like, the late 2000s. This album came out, or I guess it's considered a mixtape, came out in 2011. And they were very popular on the internet. So, you guys gave this a listen. How are you feeling about this? What are your thoughts?
I liked a lot of it. Some of the vocals were a little tough to understand.
Yeah, MC Ride spends a lot of the time yelling.
Yeah, just like shouting.
Yeah.
But I thought the beats were very, very good.
The production on it is pretty sick. Tori?
I really like...
Good.
No, Tori, you go.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I was absolutely jamming. I rearranged my room and I was just blasting this, and it felt very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very cool. I couldn't understand a lot of it, but I can't understand anything. Like, I have great hearing. I have incredible hearing. I just can't understand.
It doesn't help that I usually pick things that are hard to understand.
That's true.
But Benny, what were you saying?
I really like the song. I'm trying to find the name of it. It was like number 8 or 9.
Culture Shock?
Yeah, I think it was Culture Shock.
Culture Shock.
Is that the one where it's like you're vibrating at a high frequency?
I believe so. Either that or Through the Walls.
It's Culture Shock, yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
That one, I feel like that was the easiest to understand. The game I was playing through, a lot of it was trying to pick out the samples, and I know at one point it was the Beastie Boys, I think on the 3rd track.
Yes, Lord of the Game had a Brass Monkey sample. It also had a vocal sample from the Ozzy Osbourne song Fire. I am the god of hellfire.
And there was Black Flag at one point, I don't remember where though.
The Clink contains elements of Rise Above.
Yes.
Let's see. There is... I'm looking at all of the sample credits. The album opens up with a spoken word excerpt, or an interview with Charles Manson.
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah. That was Charles Manson. I'm looking for things that I know.
Well, now I feel weird saying this. He made a lot of good points.
I looked into some of his speeches. He is, a great public speaker.
This is how Tori told her she joined a cult.
No, I do a monologue from from Dog Sees God, which is Charlie Brown characters grown up. And the little redhead girl, I do the monologue where I set her hair on fire in class. So I'm in like a mental institution, and CB, Charlie Brown, like comes to visit, and he's like, why did you do it? Why did you set her hair on fire? And I give this list of reasons, and one of them is that Charles Manson is just so damn persuasive. And so I looked into it, and I was like, yeah, low-key, she's doing it sarcastically, but...
Yeah. It takes a great amount of charisma to be a cult leader. That's kind of how they do. But also, he was a horrible person.
I would love to be a cult.
He never... Look, this is a weird hill to die on, but he never killed anyone.
he did try and start a race war.
That's true. I'm going to abandon this bit now.
I do enjoy it, though. I like the bit. Did you guys see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did.
No.
I really enjoyed it.
I did not like it.
I love Quentin Tarantino.
I love Quentin Tarantino too, but that movie, 3 out of 10. It was just so boring the whole
Tori,
time.
how do you feel about QT?
Fine. Doesn't he have a foot fetish? Is that him?
That's the running joke, because there's a lot of shots in a lot of the movies that are just of attractive women's feet.
I think it became a joke, and he's leaned into it in recent years, because now it's over the top of what he's doing.
Yeah. Either he's in on it and he's having fun with it, or he's into it and he's like, yeah, everyone knows I'm just gonna get in there now. There was another Beastie Boys sample. Spread Eagle.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's "Fight for Your Right," right?
Yeah,
At one
Spread
point,
Eagle
they had
Across
"Kick
the
It."
Block had Fight for Your Right and Girls. There's Two Live Crew, Black Flag, Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, on 5D, it was samples of text-to-speech translator and samples of West End Girls. Culture Shock had The Superman by David Bowie and text-to-speech translators.
Just a funny tidbit. There's this thing on TikTok. It's kind of old now, but people are still doing it. Where you use the Google Translate, and it's so it reads it out loud, and it just says, "It's okay that one time," and then they put a super embarrassing thing. So that's just a fun tidbit. I'm trying to trick Benny into more TikToks.
It's very nefarious, your deeds here.
There's also...
I'm happy it's been recorded because I think you should go to jail.
Just wanted to throw these out. There's a couple Pink Floyd samples and a sample from the Combine Soldier from the video game Half-Life 2.
Huh.
Which is a weird place to pull from, but okay.
I think that's cool.
So I listened to this in my car in the beginning, as I was driving to work, and I kind of got in my car, put it in, hit play, and kind of how my car works. Sometimes I can't tell, if my the iPod's playing or it's the radio, but just as I hit play, it kind of lined up perfectly with on the radio that Crowded House song, "Don't Dream It's Over," playing. So I kind of thought it was beginning with a sample of that. And I let it. I thought it for way too long. It was a solid 30 seconds of just that song. I was like, they're not really doing anything to this.
What an odd message they're playing here. Where are they going with this? Oh, they're not. This is the radio.
Have you ever had a song playing and there's a horn or a siren in it?
Oh, in the car, and you just gotta pull over. There's an ambulance coming. Oh wait, no.
They always get me. There will be a honk, and I'll start looking around.
Looking for someone to fight whoever was honking at you.
You look around when there's a honk. I look around when there's a hunk. Trying to see him.
Wait, how do you know that there's a hunk if you're not already looking around?
I got a radar. I got a hunk radar.
Oh. It's just it just goes off
Is this a personal hunk radar, or is there an app? Because please share that there's an app.
There's just a meaty dude around.
That's a good idea for an app. No, I'm sure that's already a thing. Tinder or Grindr.
Meaty dude alert.
Probably Grindr would be more accurate.
Yeah.
So because I couldn't understand most of the lyrics, what would you say the theme of this album is?
God, it depends. It's kind of all over the place. I Want It, I Need It, which is one of my favorite songs, is literally just about going out, doing a bunch of drugs, and having casual sex and partying. And then, oh, man. There's a lot of it, a lot of all over the place. Guillotines, just pretty raw aggressions. Lord of the Game is also, a little party, a little aggression, a little just self-important hyping up. I don't know. I think aggression is the main point of this album. Just it's loud.
I did understand it then.
Yeah, it's loud. It's in your face. It's distorted. It's just Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just... I don't want to say all there is to it, but I'm sure if you go into the lyrics and pick it apart, you'll be able to find something more... let's see. Tachyon lyrics. I'm going to go through that and see if there's... Tachyon's about, subatomic particles. I think it's just the music being so loud and blowing through your head and... just being overwhelming. Yeah. A lot of drugs, a lot of partying, a lot of loud music. So I think you may have gotten the gist of it if that's what you pulled away from it.
I really like the song Guillotine. I'm throwing that out there.
It goes, it goes, it goes, it goes, it goes, it goes, it goes.
Oh, I did like that.
That and then Tachyon every time, and probably I Want It, I Need It. Every time those come on in the car, I just like crank that up all the way and hurt myself and hurt my speakers and the samples and the production on this are really good.
Yeah, that was very that was like a lot of interesting work.
I'm a big fan of people using samples as long as they're credited.
Yeah.
Well,
I do like.
It depends.
What do you mean?
Like, I love the Beastie Boys album Paul's Boutique, which I believe is like the most sampled album in history, and they're not really credited at all. But I love that album.
Yeah, on the other hand, it was such a ubiquitous album that I imagine a lot of people, especially like in New York, when they were sampling it, it's like, yeah, this is like everyone knows where this is from. Should probably write it in the liner notes, but I wonder how much of that was just, oh yeah, I know what this is.
And it was like 84 or whatever, and I think they had just kind of invented sampling. I'm sure I'm wrong about that. I'm sure someone's going to be like, no, actually sampling has been around since
we
the
late
1890s.
A fact checker on that.
Fact checker, when sampling happened. Yeah, you know what? No one's actually going to call you out on that because no one listens to our podcast.
That's true. It's either Liz or Tori's friends from her school.
Or my mom. Mom, when did sampling start? Let me know. Yeah, other than that, most of what I have to talk about for this is just Death Grips in general. Because this album, they released it for free on their website. All the other albums.
www.deathgrips.com?
Probably. I imagine it was like a .net, just because that's who they are. Their sophomore album, or I guess if this is a mixtape, it would be their debut album, The Money Store. Also really good. There's so many good songs in that. I recommend that. Their second full-length album is most notable for having the cover be the title of the album written on the drummer's penis. It's a picture of his penis with the title of the album written on it.
Is that the one that's like from the dark web?
No Love Deep Web?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because that like showed up when I was originally searching for Death Grips, and I was like, "What is this blurry photo of like a pink?" It looked like a like an 8-bit sword.
This is how we found out Tori's never seen a penis before. She's like, it was pink and it kind of looked like a sword. And
is it not blurred on y'all's?
On the Wikipedia article, it's not blurred. The other way I'll often see it is just a large black bar. That's...
I'm using a screenshot of... I'll have to pull it up. Of what it shows up as on Spotify.
That might just be Spotify blurring it.
That's true, yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like an 8-bit sword.
Yeah. Like, I kind of assumed, but I wasn't gonna be like, that's a penis.
This is the way I'll most often see it, other than just the uncensored version.
I thought you were just sending a dick pic in the chat.
No, it's the other version, so you can look at it, it's fine. Which is...
You can look at it, it's fine.
Which is... It's a funny album cover, like...
I guess.
I did get to see them live, which was pretty fantastic, but it was weird because they were on tour with Ministry, and I don't know if you guys know Ministry.
No, that's
No.
not the band we listened to forever ago that does the, like...
No, we haven't listened to them on here. They're like an 80s industrial act, and fronted by Al Jorgensen, who's just this weird dude who's like 60 now and is still like, yeah, rock and roll, heavy metal.
Rock and roll!
But there was a very clear divide of like late teens, young 20-somethings there to see Death Grips, and the 50-year-old dudes there to see Ministry that were like really confused by Death Grips.
That's fun.
And the keyboard programming production guy from Death Grips wore a pair of gloves that each of the finger had like a laser light on them, and he did like super cool swoopy lasers all show. It was fun. I recommend checking out their debut studio album, The Money Store. Which is also a fun name. What are you gonna do at the Money Store? How are you like what?
I assume you're gonna buy yourself money. I did accidentally hit mute when I was looking at the photo.
Oh. But
Wait, Tori, do you want to go next, or should I?
Dealer's choice, Benjamin.
Let's do Tori second, because I feel like we're going to get a lot of discussion out of Do the Right Thing. Save the meat and bones for when we have the most time.
Okay, so I chose Lizzo, specifically her album, Cause I Love You. So she's an American singer, rapper, songwriter, and she plays the flute. Truly incredible. She's like super big about body positivity and love. And I love her. Thank you for coming to my Lizzo TED Talk.
Okay.
So, all I really knew, I mean, I had heard, of course, some of her songs on the radio before. But all I really knew about her before this was that whole thing where she fought with that music reviewer.
Yes, that was a thing. I don't remember much of that.
It was something, it boiled down to her basically saying the only people who should review music are musicians, which I disagree with. So that was why I had never really thought any of this out before.
Whenever we would go to the gym, every time I would get picked up.
Who's we? You and Lizzo?
Yes, me and Lizzo. Me and Bob and Chris and Eric and Lydia would all go to the gym. But fairly often, Lizzo would come on the radio. And then we would get to the gym, and Lizzo would play. And then we would get back in the car to leave, and Lizzo would come on. To the point where, as soon as we heard the start of Tempo, we would turn off the radio. That said, I do enjoy this. Now that I've had like a few months where I have not been bombarded with Lizzo, I did enjoy this album.
I did get to see her live. Side story. She performed on Good Morning America last summer. And so I woke up at like 5 a.m. I met my friend Hagen. It was the line, like, it was a crazy long line because it was a free concert. We stood, like, outside of Rockefeller Center for, like, an hour and a half, and then we were on the back side of the stage. But she did walk by, and she waved. It was incredible.
So, my favorite part of her music is when she does the, like the belting singing.
Oh, yeah. Her riffs are
That is my least favorite part.
Mm-hmm. And I also liked the rapping. What I didn't like was, like, the slower, I don't want to say spoken word, but, like, when she slowed down and, like, didn't really hit notes, was just kind of doing, like, that whispery talk sort of deal. I didn't particularly enjoy that. So I would say my low points on the album were I didn't like Crybaby. Crybaby. She was, like, doing that sort of vocal style most of it, and it just did not enjoy that song. And then Lingerie just felt like a really weak closer to me. I don't know what else I would have closed the album with out of all of these. Like, maybe Jerome? Jerome was like... Because you couldn't put, like, tempo at the end, because that's like a hype, building, partying, getting into it song. But something like Jerome, where it's, like, sad and soulful and emotional, but still pushing out that energy that Lingerie didn't have, I think I would have liked that a lot more. Like, if you would have cut Crybaby from the album and moved Lingerie, switched it with Jerome, I think this would have been like... I mean, I'm not a musician, so, you know, I can't critique, but...
I do think you are. You are a musician.
I'm not... What? Well, I was mostly doing a joke about apparently Lizzo saying that only musicians should review music, which I also disagree with. But that would be my my uninformed, unexpert opinion of what to do with this album to really like help it be better for me. That's just how I felt about it.
Fair opinion.
Yeah.
I'm also going to give an uninformed, unexpert opinion, saying that a lot of the songs in the back half felt like they were just trying to mirror songs in the front half. Like they were, like... Does that make sense?
Yeah, like not saying anything particularly new or saying it in a different way.
Yes.
Just kind of hitting the same beat again.
And I guess that's fine. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening to this is going to say, like, this coming from the guy who listens to a lot of emo music, and what do they talk about all the time? But I guess, I don't know, because maybe it's just a matter of I connect with that and didn't really connect with this. So to me it was, I'm missing the nuance. Maybe there is nuance and I am missing it.
Yeah.
Is what I will say.
I'll also say that a lot of it I didn't particularly connect with, but, you know, it wasn't for me. I am not a thick bitch. I don't need tempo.
I certainly don't think I'm the target audience for this.
Yeah. But I can definitely jam to it. There's some bangers here.
The singles are great. I love the singles. Like Juice and...
Tempo is the other one, I believe.
There's another one too, right?
Because I Love You.
Because I Love You.
I think was released.
No, maybe I'm thinking of just a different Lizzo song.
Yeah, there were several. Oh god, now I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Truth Hurts is a single, though, right?
Yeah, one is great, so they gotta be great. Good as hell.
Yeah, those weren't on the. Those were like the deluxe edition and the super deluxe edition. Deluxe edition had Boys, Truth Hurts, and Water Me. And then the Super Deluxe had Good As Hell and the Good As Hell remix featuring Ariana Grande. And then the Japanese bonus tracks was Truth Hurts with DaBaby remix featuring DaBaby.
I hate DaBaby.
All of the stress isn't good for the
That's
baby.
a conversation for a different time, but I hate DaBaby.
I'm DaBaby.
What is it about...
I'm baby.
Oh. Your audio just like spiked there for some reason. What is it... I see this a lot where albums will have like Japanese bonus tracks. Like, is that... You guys see that, right? Like, there's always a special edition for Japan.
Yeah.
I wonder what's up with that. I know they do have a lot more... They have way less computers, so a lot more physical media. As weird as that sounds, everyone's just on their phones, smartphones, and they don't have, like... way less people have laptops or computers in Japan. So.
I'm sure that there's some reason as to, like... releases in Japan have to be different because of some reason, which causes them to put additional tracks on just to meet some sort of quota.
Yeah.
And then American collectors find that interesting, so they collect that.
Like how in Texas there has to be a Texas edition of books, of like college books. There's always a Texas edition.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I know in Canada they have to play like one Canadian artist on the radio per hour.
So they're getting like a lot of Nickelback, I guess.
Yeah, that's how Nickelback got so huge, was because in Canada it seemed like they were very popular. Because all the alt-rock stations had to be like, well, this is our thing.
This is our one.
Guys.
Something else I wanted to comment on. The amount of features on this album is very strange to me. Because when I see an album with features, it's always either all of them or none. Like, there's just like 6 different features, a lot of people. Just 2 on this. Out of 11 songs, just 2 features. And I don't know. I don't think it's good or bad. I just found that interesting. Apparently the Ex-Ambassadors produced a lot of the songs on this. I don't know if you guys know them. They're like alt-rock, I guess.
I've heard the name. I don't know.
I've
if
also
I'm
heard the
familiar with
name.
any of their songs.
I feel like I know one of their songs.
Did they do Come With Me Now?
This seems like a question for our fact checker.
Yeah. Liz, what song did Ex-Ambassadors do that everyone knew?
Okay, so it says their popular ones are Unsteady, In Your Arms with Ex-Ambassador, Home with Machine Gun Kelly, Ex-Ambassadors, Renegades, Boom.
Yeah, Renegades was the one I was thinking of.
Is that Renegade? Renegade. I'm gonna listen to it.
The picture of them makes me think that they sound similar to Imagine Dragons.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, they have a very similar feel to Lumineers. I feel. At least I'm just listening to Renegades right now.
They produced 4 of the songs on this album.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely didn't get that vibe from this. Dude, one of them was Jerome, and that was like sad soul music.
Yeah. Jerome, I think, was probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, I like Tempo. I like Jerome. Jerome was really good. And Exactly How I Feel was very good. The features were nice and fun. Oh, Gucci. Yeah, well, anything else you want to add, Tori? Anything?
She's a TikTok and she's incredible. I love her. Her riffs are amazing. Incredible flautist. I'm just a big fan. I'm a big fan of
What
Lizzo.
did you think of that whole thing of her going to the Laker game and, like, not wearing pants?
What was she wearing?
I don't remember exactly. I remember that she went to a Laker game and there was a controversy. But I didn't really research it. So I don't really know all the details. It was just one of those things that they debated on sports shows that morning, you know?
Yeah.
Tori, any info on this?
Yeah, I just googled it. I think she was wearing some sort of dress, and she like dropped it low for the crowd, and her thong showed. Like it's like very clearly like her entire butt.
Here's what I imagine. I imagine Stephen A. Smith not happy. I imagine Max Kellerman was like, "Come on, Stephen."
Yes. Isn't that everything?
Yeah, that is. Give me any sports topic, I can tell you
What their opinions.
what his first take was that day.
I don't know anything about sports, but she also got 8 nominations for the 2020 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Best New Artist, Best Pop Solo Performance, Best R&B Performance, Song of the Year, Best Traditional R&B Performance, and Best Urban Contemporary Album.
Let's throw it. That's a good thing there, a good transition. Did you guys hear what they're doing with the urban contemporary category?
No.
Well, okay, so that's been a controversial thing for a while because the urban contemporary category originally had a place whenever people listened to the radio and gave a shit about the radio, because contemporary stations in urban cities would play certain songs. So that used to be a defining reasonable name. Now that in the world of streaming and Spotify, urban contemporary as a category for the Grammys basically exists so that artists of color can be put in urban contemporary so that Taylor Swift wins album of the year for pop or whatever. That's a little bit of an aggressive take on it, but not entirely unreasonable in my opinion. But thanks to all of the Black Lives Matter protests and things going on and people talking about how the Grammys are not particularly well representative, they changed the name from urban contemporary to progressive R&B, which I still don't think is
interesting.
Very good.
No, I don't know what it is that makes it sound weird, but it just sounds like it's not.
And like, so some of the artists who have won this category,
what is now the progressive R&B category?
Yeah, let me see. Frank Ocean, Channel Orange, Rihanna, Unapologetic, Beyonce, Lemonade. Like, I don't know if I would put those as like R&B.
I guess in a sense,
but
they did progress the R&B genre. But I don't know if I would
call them.
I don't know if that's the label I would like apply to them.
Yeah. Like, it just sounds like they're saying, "Oh, okay, we'll change it," but it's still going to be a category where we're going to like section off the black artists so that we get more, we get Taylor Swift winning the pop albums.
You really got it out for Taylor Swift.
That's just the one that keeps coming to mind. But yes.
I have a completely unrelated thing. Have you guys heard about this Chris D'Amelio stuff?
No, I don't know who that is.
What?
Chris D'Elia?
Yes.
He's Luke. He's an awful stand-up comedian. Think Dane Cook if Dane Cook was still doing stand-up in 2020.
Wow.
Also a predator.
Oh.
There's a bunch of stuff like people are coming forward that he was like had sex with a bunch of underage girls and was grooming and just like being crazy inappropriate. Sorry, I sent that Twitter thing to y'all on the Discord, which I highly recommend you read. And I glanced at Twitter.
I've never been a big fan of Chris D'Elia's, even before I knew all this stuff, and it's mainly because, like, that seemed to be his persona. Like, it was like, it's not like, how Bill Cosby's persona was like the world's greatest dad, and then he turned out to be a monster, and you're like, who could have seen this coming? It was like he had that persona, and then it was like, it's true.
That tracks.
Although there are some people who have that persona and, like, from what I understand, flip the script. Like, who was it? It was, like, Daniel Tosh and... who's the other guy that did, like, a Comedy Central show?
Bo Burnham?
Anthony Jeselnik?
Jeselnik. Yeah, he's, like, a very aggressive insult comedian for the most part, and all I've ever heard about them in real life is that they're, like, shy, quiet, and nice guys. Did we have that conversation on the podcast?
I think we have had it about Bo Burnham.
Oh, and we had it about joking about how John Mulaney was an awful person in real life was the joke.
I think that, once again, I'll say that's an episode of Crashing where he's like, you see him as much more of a human person who's like, has like bad moods and stuff.
Yeah.
And at the end he says to Pete, like, and you'll tell people I was nice because I was nice.
I'm looking to see what Dane Cook has done recently because I was like, yeah, what has he been up to? He was a voice in Disney's Planes and the sequel. He was in American Gods, which I still haven't seen, but I love the book.
I did. I really enjoyed that book.
And
Tori, who are some of your favorite stand-up comedians other than we know that you love John Mulaney?
I like... Oh god, I'm terrible with names. Truly terrible. Currently I've been watching a lot of... Oh, I put it on,
oh, that guy, yeah.
James A. Caster. I also really like Ali Wong. Obviously Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Sarah Silverman.
Are you familiar with Eddie Izzard?
Yes, actually I am. I have their book.
He's one of my favorite. Does he... I'm sorry, does he use different pronouns than that?
It might be. I think they might go by they, them. I always just use they, them if I'm not sure.
I don't have any.
Oh, when asked what pronouns he prefers, Izzard said either he or she.
Okay.
So, Tori, you shot perfectly down the middle and were exactly wrong.
They is acceptable, like...
It is.
I know, I'm teasing.
He has always been my favorite ever since I heard Death Star Cantina. That was my favorite bit of all time.
I like the cake or death bit.
Cake or Death is also great.
What? You said death? No, I changed my mind.
Cake,
I don't have any comedians where I'm like, yes, this is a person that I like follow their career, and if they put out a special, I'll watch it. It's like...
Oh, I have hundreds.
Comedians are...
I shouldn't say hundreds, but I have at least 100.
I don't know. They're just never got into them in that way.
I love Eddie Izzard. I love Paul F. Tompkins. I love Lauren Lapkus. I love... who's some new people? Do you guys know Taylor... What's her last name?
Lautner?
Yes, Taylor Lautner from Twilight.
What's he do?
Why not even be Taylor? Taylor Tomlinson. They're very good. Let's watch your Netflix special.
I have not. The other guy from Twilight's doing some good movies. I wanted to watch the
Robert
Lighthouse.
Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson might be one of the greatest actors of this generation, and it's insane.
Did you see he did an article for a magazine and like took his own photos because of quarantine, and just a wreck. I have never loved a man more.
Taylor Lautner hasn't done anything since 2016, so I think he's just like out of the game.
Yeah, but I only remember him from Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which I actually never watched.
You don't remember the classic movie Valentine's Day, which I skipped school to see?
Wait, did we move on to Benny's movie?
Yeah, we can move on to movies.
I just didn't know if I missed it.
I want to throw this out there. Apparently, reading his Wikipedia, since 2018 he has been publicly dating Taylor Dome, a nurse from California. This is the second Taylor he's dated, and if they get married and she takes his name, they'll both be Taylor Lautner. I think he's just doing this as a bit.
That's fair. He was dating Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that was the only celebrity couple I ever rooted for because I wanted them to both be Taylor Lautner. Anyway.
So I chose the movie Do the Right Thing. It is Spike Lee's third film after She's Gotta Have It in School Days. It is set in his home borough of Brooklyn, New York, in Bed-Stuy. It tells the story of the hottest day of the summer and the kind of racial tensions that boil over during that day.
Okay, so I wanted to do this last so I could bury this part, which is I didn't really enjoy it.
Really?
I didn't like it all that much.
I love it. I think it's great.
I definitely get where it was coming from and what it was going for, but everyone kind of sucked.
My favorite part is that everyone kind of sucks.
There are, I think, 3 people who are Okay, 2 people who are completely irredeemable, and 1 person who sucks more than everyone else, save for those 2 people.
Is the one person Hector the toddler?
No.
Oh.
It is the cops. They show up and they murder a man. Monstrous. And also very, very relevant to what's currently going on.
Yeah, that's why I picked this.
Yeah. 2, Sal's oldest son, Pino? He's just kind of an awful bastard. And then the 3rd person who sucks a whole lot, but not quite as much as those 2, Mookie. Mookie is just awful. Like, he's never... He doesn't do the right thing.
That is up for debate. I think Mookie doesn't spend most of his day doing the right thing, but I think because a lot of people debate, the classic debate is at the end, does he do the right thing?
Is throwing the garbage can the right thing? And
yes.
I was reading that one of the controversies of it was, is that the right thing? And Spike Lee's quote was that, where was it? An open interview near the end, or an open question, when he throws it, does he do the right thing? Some critics have interpreted that action as saving Sal's life by redirecting the anger away from Sal, and others say it was an irresponsible encouragement to violence. Spike Lee has remarked that only white viewers ask him if Mookie did the right thing. Black viewers do not ask the question. Lee believes the key point is that Mookie was angry at the wrongful death of Radio Raheem. Viewers who question the riot are explicitly failing to see the difference between damage to property and the death of a black man. So, in a way, I feel like Spike Lee's already calling me out, but I don't think it's the riot that I have a problem with. It's Mookie starting it for... It didn't seem to me like that was going to end in Sal's death. Like, he wasn't redirecting the anger of the crowd from Sal to the restaurant. It just, he was mad as hell, and he took it out in a place that I don't think deserved it. Although, I mean, yeah, it was just a window and a restaurant burned up, but... If any single person in that movie just chilled the fuck out for like 30 seconds, like, I don't think it would have come to that.
In their defense, it was very hot.
Yeah. It was hot, but like... And... Radio Raheem died because the cops killed him.
Yeah.
The cops were there because of the situation that happened, and... Did they ever say who called the cops explicitly?
No, I don't think they do. I think that's just the cops beat.
But... And I guess this... I guess that would be victim blaming, I suppose, if I said that if Raheem turned his radio off, everything would be cool. But, like... Why couldn't anyone just chill out?
Yeah, it just... I think the whole situation is, like... It just escalates to the point where nobody could have seen it going. Like, of course, nobody thinks somebody not turning the radio down can have these deadly consequences. But I think we're seeing kind of in America, it can at sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie, I really liked it. I thought it was insanely relevant. I can't believe it came out in, God, what?
1989.
89. And I think, like, Luke, you were saying, you know, like, if they just chilled out for 30 seconds, like, none of it would have happened. But I think that's low-key exactly what's happening now. Is people are, like, everybody's acting on their emotions, which is a completely human thing to do, and everybody does it. And you get caught up in these moments. And, like, hindsight's 20/20, but you're like, I'm gonna do this now, and this is how this is gonna go. And then everything happens.
Yeah, I suppose that's...
What did you guys think about Sal in the movie? Do you think that is Sal the villain of the movie or no?
No, I don't think Sal's the villain. I think he's just same as everyone else. Like, if he would have calmed down for 30 seconds and like Christ, put some pictures up on the wall. It's not that hard, dude. Like, and yeah, I don't see him as a villain. Definitely not like I said, I don't think there's any people that I enjoyed or rooted for here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a good guy. He's definitely far too complicit with some shitty things, but I don't know if I'd call him the villain. Not the villain.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know, because like as I was watching it this time, there are those moments where he pays the mayor to sweep up, and he I think it's implied that he pays him too much, or he gives him more than any reasonable person would say to just and then he's very nice to Mookie's sister.
Although that was
it's kind of creepy.
I think it was implied that it was creepy.
Yeah. I was
and
bugging.
He's very proud of the kids. He kind of sees them as his kid and that they grew up on his food. But I also noticed this time that he never corrects Pino. He never says to Pino,
hey, that's fucked up.
Yeah. He corrects him when he says this isn't a good business or we should move, but he never says don't talk to people like that.
Yeah, so it's almost not that he cares about clearly he cares about the people in a way, but I think that might even be rooted in these people buy his pizza, and that's, in a roundabout way, the only thing he cares about is his business, this thing that he built. And yeah, the connection with the customers, and the kids growing up in the neighborhood is a huge part of that, but it boils down to they grew up on his pizza, the thing that he makes for his business, which is what he loves. Also, at the end of the movie, when they had the Martin Luther King and the Malcolm X quote at the end, I don't mind when a movie doesn't give me the answer to something, or when it just asks a question, an open-ended, who knows what's right. But, I don't know, something about this, to me, it felt like, I don't want to say enlightened centerism. Have you guys ever seen enlightened centerism stuff? No. Both sides are bad, that's why I don't vote. And it's okay, Christ, you're a moron. But it felt like nonviolence or a armed self-defense, but both of them can go wrong. So which is it, viewer? I don't know, it felt kind of preachy, but not in a way that was constructive.
Huh. I've always just taken that moment to be these are two people who we think are so different. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But really I always think of it more as they're more similar than we think, and they both wanted
the same thing.
Yeah, because the picture of them is them smiling and... I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of Martin Luther King quotes are being used by the other side, but they're taken out of context.
Yeah.
And even his descendants are on Twitter and speaking out and saying things like, "This is not what he wanted."
Yeah, there was,
or not. This is not what he wanted. This is not what he meant. We're doing the right thing with the protests and the riots and stuff.
Yeah, even not even the protests, the riots. The riot is the language of the unheard. We must condemn the situations that create these riots as viciously as we condemn the riots. So, if these things are happening, we need to look at the root causes of them, and why are people so, like, even the people who would just join these things because they're interested in, you know, like, breaking into somewhere and taking something, why is that the only way that they feel like they can get these things that other people have? Why is the situation of society so bent against these people that this is something that seems reasonable?
It's interesting how, like you said earlier, this movie came out in 1989, and it's so, like, closely deals with these stuff we're still, like, dealing with.
People always say that change is slow and it takes time, but, you know, this is the exact same, like, nothing, it feels like nothing has changed.
Oh, I also wanted to ask Tori, as a non-sports fan, did you understand the reference they were making, having that guy wear a Larry Bird jersey?
I have heard of Larry Bird.
Do you know who he is?
Basketball.
He was a basketballman.
Do you know why that guy is wearing a Larry Bird jersey?
No.
Larry Bird was, like, he played in the 80s, and a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of people, but there was a lot of white people considered him the great white hope of basketball in the 80s. A label that he never really played into or wanted or accepted, and I don't want to say he did all he could to fight against, but certainly pushed back against. So saying that, like, even though they live in New York and this guy should probably be a Knicks fan, he's rooting for Larry Bird because Larry Bird is white.
Mm.
Yes, if there was someone gentrifying the neighborhood and being shitty, that would be the jersey you throw him in.
But I do want to say, as a now it sounds awful to say, as a fan of Larry Bird, but just because
because you enjoy the sport of basketball, and he
yes.
was good at the sport of basketball.
Was he very, very tall?
Larry Bird was not particularly tall. He was.
Oh, maybe I'm just thinking of Big Bird.
He was
taller than you or I.
He was kind of lanky.
Bird, yeah.
I have some news about how hard it is to be taller than I am.
It's not very.
Not very at all.
He was 6'9".
Pretty fucking tall.
Tall boy.
In basketball.
Yeah.
6'9's okay. I mean, 6'9's tall, but he couldn't play center.
Did you know that if you live in the United States and you are over 7 foot tall, there's I believe, 19% chance you play in the NBA?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
I would love to have you guys watch something about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson's rivalry. Maybe I'll try to find something about that. Do you know anything about that, Tori?
No.
They were heated rivals. They hated each other from the time they were in college, and now they are best friends.
Do you think the Harlem Globetrotters come back to Harlem? I would love to see their game. It's like so much theatrics.
If the Harlem Globetrotters were going to come to New York, they would play in either MSG or the Barclays Center. I also don't believe they ever played in Harlem. They are not from Harlem.
Are you sure?
They adopted that. Yeah, they adopted it as just like because they were traveling around like the Midwest and stuff. They wanted to seem like they were from some far off place.
I know a lot about the Harlem Globetrotters, mainly because they were on Futurama and Scooby-Doo.
I would love to go to a Harlem Globetrotters game and just root for the Generals the whole time.
Do they always play the same team?
Yeah, they always play the Washington Generals. In like the 40-year history, the Generals have won once. And apparently the crowd booed when the Generals won.
Fair.
Those poor
And it's like
generals.
the biggest underdog in sports history, and you guys are gonna boo that? I would have been ecstatic.
Like, it'd be watching a once-in-a-lifetime sporting event. Like watching Shaq make a three-pointer.
It happened once. Apparently, in that game, do you know how the Globetrotters work, where they play 10... They do one goofy play, then 10 regular plays, then one goofy play?
I did not know that.
I also did not know that.
That's, I guess, the system. But in the fourth quarter of that game where they were losing, it was just like straight up basketball. Like they had to play a straight basketball game.
Do they bring the Washington Generals with them?
Yeah.
Oh.
I read a whole article about the guy who was the captain of the Washington Generals for like years.
God, that's gotta be a brutal job.
It was a fascinating interview because he was just... Apparently, this guy played in college, was supposed to play in Europe, but it was the year the NBA went on... the Players Union went on strike. So a lot of them were taking jobs in Europe, so he couldn't get that. So he had to play for the Generals. Sorry for that deep dive into basketball lore.
That's fine. It's just like going in every single day to work, and it's like, hey, Bill, you ready to get the shit kicked out of you today? Oh, same as always. Like, oh, that's gotta suck. Well, I guess it's just entertainment. That's like going into WWE and being like, oh, you're gonna lose the match today. Like, oh, that hurts my soul. No, it's a show.
Yeah, he had the interesting take on it of, like, I got, for, like, however long he was, I was in my 20s, I got to travel the world and played, like, the game I love every day. And, like, ultimately, what else could you ask for?
They were also an American Dad.
What? Larry? Huh? Was Larry Bird
the Harlem Globetrotters?
The Harlem Globetrotters.
American Dad?
They're also on Futurama.
Yes.
I don't know if that was actually them, but the characters of were.
I was trying to think because there was I just have this memory of like, God, I must have been either like on an airplane or in a hotel, and I just had the TV on. I just remember watching it, and Stan, I don't watch a lot of American Dad, has a flashback. And he was left at a train station, and the Harlem Globetrotters took him in. Sorry, I was stuck on this. Yeah, just for like a little bit.
That'd be a good story. Like, instead of being left in the wilderness and raised by wolves, just like left at a train station and raised by the Harlem Globetrotters. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about?
I guess we should say, if you are like an African American listener of BLT, please reach out and tell us if we got anything wrong or any views we need to reconsider or kind of consider more deeply.
Yeah, because probably my take on Do the Right Thing is got some... truth be told, like, I can understand why it was a very important movie. And there were parts of it that I did enjoy a lot. But I think the parts that, like... I don't think
maybe I just... you said anything particularly out of line. You just said you didn't really like the characters. But again, some people will let us know.
Yeah. Maybe part of that, like... being uncomfortable with all of the stuff that happened is like part of the point, like you can't just confront the viciousness and the horribleness of racism in a way that's like fun and happy,
Oh, certainly not.
Like, it's ugly. It's an ugly thing, and sometimes that's what it looks like. So, I don't know.
My closing thoughts are Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter.
Ooh. Something else I want to say. We gave a lot of attention to the Harry Potter book series last episode. And so I wanted to recommend some other books based on what the author of those books had to say. Where's my list?
While you pull up your list, I would like to recommend that we all collectively just pretend like the Harry Potter books were written by Daniel Radcliffe.
Did you see the letter that he penned? The open letter to J.K. Rowling?
No, I didn't.
It was great. He acknowledged that, like, you know, obviously she played a huge role in his life, but that her views were wrong, and that, you know, trans people are who they say they are.
Well, it's settled then. We pretend like Daniel Radcliffe wrote the Harry Potter books.
I also like the school of thought that, like, they just appeared somewhere.
Ooh.
And we're never... there's no
Harry,
author.
The Harry Potter world is real. And this was a documentary, and it magically appeared in the Muggle world.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that was the other thing. We were talking about how Gen Z was coming at millennials on Twitter and stuff, and one of my favorite things was like, oh, yeah, and those millennials, they always like to talk about their Harry Potter houses like they matter, and they always pretend like, or they always imagine they're like two different ones combined, like, oh, I'm such a Gryffindor, like, piss off. And I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Benny, did you find your list?
I did.
Okay,
so
go.
These are books that I believe were either written by trans people or have trans characters in them or trans themes. One is the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jamison. I have not read these books. I've read her other series, the Dreamblood duology, and it's very good. I'm going to start the Broken Earth series once I finish reading what I'm reading right now. And then I've ordered these other books. I have not read them. The Red Thread of Fortune by J.Y. Yang. Dreadnought by April Daniels. And When the Moon Was Ours by Anne-Marie McElmore. And to shout out where I got these from, it was a Barnes & Noble list called 11 Works of Transpositive Science Fiction and Fantasy. I kind of read through and ordered what I liked. And so maybe I will do an update on those books.
I would love that.
I'm impressed. I didn't realize Macklemore was an author now.
Macklemore has always done great work. I remember he had a scholarship foundation for, like, musicians. Like, kids could audition, and, like, if, like, they won, he would just pay for their college.
Yeah. Macklemore is good. I think he definitely gets a bad rap through no fault of his own for winning Rap Album of the Year at the Grammys over To Pimp a Butterfly with his thrift shop record.
I don't know if Macklemore might be a good person. I'm sure he's like a good guy. I don't know if he's a good...
Oh, yeah, like musician,
And the whole I don't know if he's a good guy thing, like, that song, his gay rights song, what's it called? I can only think of the Lonely Island.
When I was 13, I thought I was gay because I could...
Oh,
yeah. It was, and I kept my room straight.
Yeah. Also...
Like, you don't need to so often in that song reiterate that you are not gay.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that that's the main thing people take away from it.
Or that he feels like he connects so strongly with the struggles of these people because in the third grade, well, he thought he was gay, so...
For like an hour.
Yeah,
like he had an hour where... So he really gets it.
Yeah, I understand the dysphoria or, like, ugh, okay, thanks, Macklemore.
Do you know who does do great work? Guy Fieri.
Who?
Guy Fieri.
Oh, Guy Fieri, yeah.
There are always just incredible articles about he is like performs a bunch of wedding ceremonies and it's just always awesome.
I love the one comedian who I forget who it was, but the bit was like, why did we all decide to collectively like come after Guy Fieri? Like, sure, he's got frosted tips and he wears fire shirts. Like, what's wrong with that? The guy's living his dream. He's doing all these shows, going to restaurants. He's like helping people,
helping out small businesses.
Yeah, and everyone's just like coming after him. Like, leave Guy Fieri alone. He's a good guy.
All right.
Yeah. Well, that's our list of. Oh, okay, real quick about your list of recommended sci-fi books. Why did you pick the one that you hadn't read by the author that you are currently reading? Like, why not the one that you're reading?
Because that doesn't...
Okay.
It does not have any trans characters that I've encountered yet.
Sorry, my mindset was just that the author was trans, and you just picked the other book because, I don't know, that one sounded cool. No, okay, I gotcha.
I will also, again, plug The Adventure Zone by the McElroy brothers. They have trans characters, disabled characters, people of color. We love those good boys. Also, all of the proceeds for the sales of the songs from this most recent arc are being donated. And I will also say, if you can, donate, specifically to local bail funds. I'm a big advocate for Breonna Taylor's GoFundMe. And I think the Michigan Freedom Fund has asked people to donate elsewhere. There's been some backlash against the Black Lives Matter official donation site. I think it goes directly into Blue Lives, which goes into funding Democratic candidates, which has its pros and cons. However, it's not exactly doing anything right now. So I would say look up your local bail funds or just local. There's a bunch of tiny homes for Black trans women that are currently being funded. You can find that on Twitter or just Googling. And any, Black trans foundations.
I will say about the Black Lives Matter Foundation and how the money is being allocated and how much. I don't know how accurate this is, see people with the take that a lot of this money just came in recently in the past couple of weeks and months, and it's going to take them some time to figure out how much, where, and how to spend the money so that it's not all of the money just up and disappeared or isn't going to things. It's just taking time to get there. I don't know how accurate this is, but I'm reserving my judgment until I see how the money ends up being spent. Because I know a lot of people are upset that they put out a tweet saying, like, X 100,000 has been spent, and people were pointing out that X million had been raised, so where is the money and how's it happening?
Super fair. So, personal discretion.
The Pittsburgh, I believe, is the Bucket Bail Fund.
Yes.
Yep. Our local.
That one's great. I also have a friend who has started doing fundraising for just supplying protesters with things. Oh, but their Cash App got flagged, so once they have a new one, I will plug that for the next episode.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Unless there's anything else.
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, this has been BLT on Rye. I've been your host, L. I don't have any social media, so don't follow me.
I've been B. I do have social media. I mainly just retweet things about Big Brother, so also you can skip that follow as well.
Or, if you've got some interesting opinions on Big Brother, The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, or The Challenge,
please send them my way.
if you can find him.
And I've been your T, Tori. Follow me on all social media. I got Twitter. I got Instagram. I got another Instagram that exists. I got a Tumblr.
For all the plugging you do for your social media, you never name them.
I think I
You
do.
never say where, like,
Too
how
much
they can
Tori.
find you.
My user, and I've got a TikTok. Too much Tori on all social medias.
Too much Tori. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, Benny, did you have anything to add?
Oh, no, I don't say anything at the end.